Welcome back to another episode of the Shout at the Devils podcast. I'm Daniel Amoia. I'm a Devils beat reporter for the Hockey Writers. I'm here alongside Justin Brady, who runs Devils Fanatics on Instagram. And it's safe to say this is, I don't want to say rock bottom entirely, but the worst position the Devils have been in this season by far. They just dropped 5 straight. They have 1 goal in their last 3 games. We talked so many times about how forget about analytics and everything else. The Devils just need to find ways to be able to stack points in Jack Hughes' absence, and they certainly have not done that. They still have about roughly 13 to 14 games at least until Jack Hughes returns, and if they're playing like this, I mean, they're already out of a playoff spot right now. They might find themselves close to out of the playoff race entirely if they don't pick it up very soon. So it's been a real rough stretch for the Devils. What are you seeing from the team right now?
To be honest, I'm not seeing much, really, anything. You have two guys right now really chipping in goal scoring wise, Nico and Timo. Outside of that, it's really no one else. Maybe if you want to throw in Nemec because he scored 6 goals in the month of November, which is amazing for a defenseman. But really, everyone else needs to step up. Bratter has not scored a goal in 14 games now. Cody Glass hasn't scored a goal in I don't know when. I don't think Connor Brown scored 1 goal since returning from injury. Gritsuk has been very quiet as of late. Like literally every single player has been quiet. The fourth line, I don't think has scored 1 goal this whole season. At least it's felt like that. The power play is just not clicking at all right now. They look like a hot mess. They're having such a hard time with zone entries. That's like a major issue I'm seeing right now. Like without Jack Hughes, there's not many guys on this team that can skate the puck in and really set up a play better than Jack Hughes can. And you could say like maybe like Brat can, Nico can, but like I don't know, they're just not really creating many high danger scoring chances for themselves. I felt like in the games against Vegas and Dallas, they had little to no high danger chances for themselves. They can't get anything in the slot. Defenses are all just forcing them to the outside, and they're not able to create anything. Yesterday against Boston, they did play better, and even the players commented like we felt like we got close to playing our form of hockey. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean crap because all that matters is the scoreboard, and they cannot finish any chances that they get. And the chances that they've been getting are so limited as they are. And then look at Boston yesterday. The Boston didn't get that many chances, but when they did, they capitalized on their chances off of a couple bad turnovers by the Devils, one by Brendan Dillon. It's a problem right now. The Devils can't finish it all, and it's like a broken record, right? At this point, like we talked about this all last year, and I honestly believe that like earlier on in the season, like the depth scoring was there. It was there. They were getting players chipping in, and now it's just like no one's chipping in anymore. And I don't know if it's like first off, like losing Jack Hughes, of course, like is a big effect on a team. Like he's one of the best players in the league for a reason. Also, losing Brett Pesce has taken a big toll on the defense. You're seeing some decline play and a lot of guys on the blue line at the moment. It's hard when you have like Colton White, Dennis Cholowski playing, guys who just really are not accustomed to playing regular NHL minutes, and they haven't played that well as of late. Luke Hughes is still having his struggles. Dougie Hamilton, he cannot. He has 2 goals this season, maybe 3. He's not doing anything. That's a problem. Nobody's stepping up right now except if your name's Timo Meyer or Nico Hischier. It's not a 2-man team. Guys have to start chipping in. And the last thing I'll say is like this could like spiral out fast. Like the Devils went from first place in the league, like what was it, like a month ago, to out of a playoff spot in just a month. Like that's how competitive the Eastern Conference is right now. That's how competitive the Metro Division is right now. It's a gauntlet right now. Like every team, every night is going to be a tough battle. And looking ahead, like they have 8 games before the Christmas break, I believe. And most likely you're still going to be without, well, obviously you're going to be without Jack Hughes still. You're most likely going to be without Brett Pesce, at least for most of that, probably all of it. Got to find a way to at least stay afloat here. gotta win half of those games. Otherwise, like I don't know, like they're gonna be playing catch up the whole season when Jack Hughes comes back, and that's not an ideal form of hockey. So, yeah, they're a hot mess, and they have to figure it out real fast. And I don't know if that means like, oh, they go out and make a trade or something changes. I don't know what that looks like right now, but it feels like nothing's working at all.
Yeah, I mean, tracking back a little bit, we talk about the depth scoring. You could kind of see that coming back down to earth. At one point, Connor Brown was on pace for like 30 something goals. Cody Glass was on pace for 30 goals. Like, you knew that wasn't going to be the case the whole season. But the bottom line is, I don't think people realize how much Jack Hughes being out impacts the whole offense. There was that stat from MSG Networks the other day, and it was like all like the rush chances and everything in the second period, which is the period of the long change. So when a team would benefit the most offensively, the Devils were basically first or second in the league in every category with Jack. Without him, they were like between 29th and 32nd. I mean, like, that's literally with from one guy going from towards the best in the league to near the worst in terms of chance generation. And then on top of that, the chances they are creating, they're not finishing. I know you said it feels like they're generating no high danger chances. I mean, maybe less than Jack Hughes or fewer than when Jack Hughes was in the lineup for sure, but they're still generating. They've generated about 47 high danger chances over this 5-game stretch, and they've scored just 3 or 4 of them. I don't know if Timo's goal counted as one of those high danger chances. It was 3 coming into that night. But regardless, I mean, just regular shots on goal, you should be scoring more than three or 4 out of 40 something, 46. The Devils, in terms of high danger chances, are finishing at less than a 10% rate, and that just extrapolates to even just all their chances in general. They've now scored about 13 goals below expected since October 30th. Even if they were finishing at an average rate, 13 goals over what, that's probably 13-ish games. I mean, they still might not be winning a lot of games with the way they're playing, but if they're going to finish this way, it makes it near impossible. And you see that. Keefe has talked about how it seems like a confidence thing now. They're gripping their sticks too hard. There was a play last night where I don't remember who was on it, but it was a 3 or 4. It was a 4-on-2, and there were like 5 passes, and it's like if you're confident, someone's ripping the puck there, but it's like no one wants to be the one to make the mistake. And that happens when teams slump. It's not anything out of the ordinary for a slumping National Hockey League team, but they got to figure it out fast. And Brendan Dillon said 3 games ago they got to figure it out fast, and they certainly have not. So, look, I don't want to harp on everyone too much because at the end of the day, like, some of these guys are still generating chances and not finishing, and especially in the top 6. Like, yes, Jesper Bratt is beyond snake bitten right now, but it's like when it rains, it pours. There was the play last night. Andre Palat made a perfect move, sets up Connor Brown, and Jeremy Swayman sprawls post to post and robs him. Like, when things aren't going well, stuff like that, it seems like just happens every night, and you just have to be mentally tough to fight through it. And I think that's why Sheldon Keefe wasn't super angry after the game. He was a lot calmer than I think a lot of people thought. But what can he say at this point? Like, these are the players he's dealt with. The bottom 6, especially the fourth line, has really not done much, if at all season. And he can't just snap his fingers and get better players on the roster. I mean, we've seen so many people talk about roster construction, and I've mostly given Tom Fitzgerald the benefit of the doubt because it seemed like he's pushed a lot of the right buttons at times, but at the end of the day, we see every season that when Jack Hughes is out, the Devils are a sub 500 team, and Jack Hughes has unfortunately been out a pretty good amount. And every time, it's like, what's the definition of insanity? Maybe that's too overboard. I'm not saying Tom Fitzgerald's insane, but at the same time, you can't try the same thing over and over again and expect different results. And I mean, yes, it's maybe not the exact same thing. And yes, Evgeny Dadonov's out. He scored 20 goals last season. And like you said, Pesci, Kovacevic on top of Hughes, that all makes a big difference. So I can't say for certain that the roster, if they were healthy, would be playing this way. But with that being said, I mean, they just need more offense. Christy Flanner of the Hockey News wrote an article saying that, like, it just seems like a roster construction thing at this point. And it's hard to disagree with what we've seen over the last few seasons. It's unfortunate. And I don't know how they solve this with their cap space, especially because they were so tight on cap coming into this season. It was like all gymnastics just to get Luke Glendening signed. So I don't know how it's going to work in terms of retention, everything as we get closer to the deadline. But in my opinion, forget about the deadline. I think they need to make a move now if they want to be serious, because you can't waste another year of all these guys locked up. Jesper Bratt, I know he's snake bitten, but he's still getting a good amount of assists, and he's still a great player. He's still as shifty as ever on the ice. It's just not falling for him right now. Timo Meyer, Jack Hughes when he's back. Like, all these guys are locked up to pretty good deals, relatively considering. And you can't waste another season. I mean, since 22-23 now, they've won one playoff series, and it took them 7 games to do so. They really haven't even gotten close. So it's unfortunate. I feel for a player like Nico Hischier, who, you know how bad he wants to win, and he has grinded so hard in this league, and before you know it, he'll be in the league for a decade, and he really hasn't sniffed. He came even remotely close to winning a Stanley Cup. Why do you think he goes to Worlds every year? He wants to win something. I mean, and obviously he'd probably go regardless if he could, because it means a lot to him. But it's just a point. Like every time Switzerland has lost a gold medal game in Worlds, Nico's emotional. Like he wants to win so bad, and he's not getting it in the NHL. So I feel for a player like that and all the players in the room. Like this is the thing that will always irk me the most, when fans say that players don't want to win, that they don't care. Trust me, every single player in that room is kicking themselves. They are so pissed off. They want to win a lot more than even the insane fans want them to win. The fans who are painting their face red and beating their chest and spending their well-earned money to go to every single game. Trust me, the players are frustrated. They want to figure it out, but it's just not clicking right now. And it's just unfortunate. There's no magic solution. Look at the stretch the Rangers went through, where they couldn't score a single goal at home. And that's kind of how it feels like the Devils are playing right now. Like, goals are just so hard to come by, and eventually you snap out of these things. The Rangers started to snap out of it. They're hot now, and these streaks aren't going to last forever. But like you said, Justin, they need to find a way to just make it turn fast, because it can certainly spiral out of control, and you don't want that. We saw last season that they were at least able to be strong till Christmas, and they had enough cushion to still make the playoffs. But with the parity in this league and the fact that we still got a while to go until Christmas, it's not a guarantee that Keith actually said, when I asked him the other night about the parity, he said that the cushion from our 8-game winning streak basically already ran out. We don't have that cushion anymore. And it does add pressure when all these teams are so close in the standings, and losing 1 or 2 games can propel you from, I mean, it was literally like, what, 2 weeks ago that the Devils were top in the Eastern Conference, and now they're out of a playoff spot entirely. I mean, that just doesn't happen outside of like the first week of the season, but in 25-26 it does. So it feels like beating a dead horse at this point, but they have to figure it out. And I don't know, without Jack Hughes, how they're going to do that. Their finishing luck should turn a little bit. That will help a little bit. Their goaltending could definitely be better than it has been. But aside from that, I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't know why I said Jesper, that everything else is essentially the same. So I don't know. I don't have the answer, but I think they got to make an external move somehow, because otherwise I don't see it changing. Maybe they could tread water and be a 500 team, but I can't see them consistently winning hockey games. regularly if they don't make an external acquisition.
I don't either. And to backtrack real quick, yeah, they are frustrated right now in that locker room. Dylan said it's a crappy feeling. We want to win so bad. You saw after the Dallas game, Jacob Markstrom took full accountability for the team's loss in a game where the team provided zero goal support for him. And that's how you that's like a true leader right there. Class act by Markstrom right there. You could tell it's bothering him, and he's probably thinking, oh, I think, as he said, it should be 0-0 going into the third period with like 5 minutes remaining in the game. So it's a lot of guys are frustrated right now, as they should. It's a tough time right now, and to be honest with you, Daniel, I am gonna put the blame on Tom Fitzgerald for this one. A lot of people are talking about it. Roster construction, as you said. Um, it's bad when 3 seasons in a row, the team's play goes downhill consistently when Jack Hughes goes down. Like, it's a problem when it feels like the team is built around one player. And when that one player is out, it's like the team's a below average team at best. That's honestly what it feels like. And that's what Tom Fitzgerald has done with this hockey team. He's built everything around Jack Hughes. And the problem is, Jack Hughes is never consistently here. He's always dealing with an injury every season, and that's not to his fault because he's had a lot of unlucky situations happen to him over the past few years. But at the end of the day, his history. He's been a player that hasn't been able to stay on the ice for all 82 games in a season. You can't build around him anymore. And I honestly, I'm thinking about it now. Like, I don't think this team is anywhere close to winning a Stanley Cup, even when he does come back, because a lot of good teams are able to overcome significant injuries like this. I know, like, Florida's having some struggles right now, obviously, but I mean, the best of the best teams just find a way, and they don't lose 5 games in a row and score 1 goal in 3 games like the Devils have just because one player goes down. It's just hard to fathom right now. So I'm not calling for his job yet, but I mean, his seat is starting to get a little warm. Like, people are starting to question him, rightfully so, because this is like a common pattern now with this team. And this is a real situation where it's like, if the Devils fail to make the playoffs this year, I really think he's fired. Um, I don't think it's a Sheldon Keefe problem. I think it's how the roster is constructed, because the depth scoring is an issue every single year. We're noticing the same issues and patterns every year, and that's just holding the team back from their potential. We know what their potential is, but they're just not able to reach it. And it might be a manager problem. It could be something else, but all I know is right now, considering what the Devils have, I don't think it's good enough. It's clearly not good enough watching the games right now, unless they find a way to really turn this around. So, as you were saying there, a move is needed, and there's been reports that the Devils are involved in the trade market a lot. They're interested in a bunch of guys from Nashville: Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Marchessault, Ryan O'Reilly. They've been linked to Ryan O'Reilly for a while now. We know they had interest in signing Stamkos and Marchessault back in 2024 during free agency. So the only problem is, like, I think, as you were saying, like, they're so tight with cap as it is. So if they're making a trade, they got to send someone else that's taking a big cap hit on their roster to make it work. I don't know how it works, honestly. And then obviously, I know the big fish right now that everyone's talking about after report. I'll give that to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I just want to backtrack a little bit. You just mentioned all those reports, but it feels like every time the past 3 seasons that the Devils have hit a wall and really needed external help, it seems like national media has always said the Devils are in the market for a big fish, that the Devils are very active. It seems like more than any other team, the Devils are the team that's put out there. And maybe that's just because I'm focused on them more, obviously, but we see those reports constantly, and then in reality nothing really happens. So it's more of like, in my eyes, and I'll believe it when I see it, and I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but rumors are rumors for a reason. When they become true, then then that's a different story. Then we could talk about it. But with that being said, I mean, we do have to bring Quinn Hughes up. It's obviously a major story right now. And we at least know as a fact, coming from the words of Jim Rutherford himself, that Quinn Hughes would love to play with his brothers at a certain point. So, came out yesterday from Elliot Friedman. He said the Devils have had at least one conversation this week with the Canucks regarding Quinn Hughes. He said, I do not believe there is anything imminent, but I do believe that a conversation was had about where things stand and where they might be going. So now we know, at least as a fact, that they've had conversations. And that doesn't mean anything's going to happen. Like you said, with the cap space, it's going to be gymnastics to figure that one out. I mean, it was hard enough for them to piece things around just to get Luke Glendening on board. So with Quinn Hughes and then a possible extension as well with all the guys the Devils have locked up, I mean, I really don't know how they're going to figure it out. They'd have to give up an absolute haul. I mean, look at the pieces they gave up just volume-wise for Timo Meier. They gave up a ton. Muka Medulin, Zetterlund, first-round picks, and more. So I don't know how this is going to go. I think it's a little overblown to an extent, just because like it's such an easy, like I guess you could say kind of like clickbaity storyline, whereas like with other guys, like it doesn't mean as much because they don't have two brothers on the team. But with that being said, Quinn Hughes would legitimately change a lot. And I've seen so many comments that say, well, Quinn Hughes isn't going to fix the bottom six scoring. I entirely disagree with that. I think Quinn Hughes, if you look at the season Dougie Hamilton had in 22-23, the Devils' depth scoring was partially so great because the Devils never didn't have the puck. Dougie Hamilton and Jonas Siegenthaler that season just completely drove the offense, and they had so much depth scoring because the Devils lived in the offensive zone. They're relentless on the forecheck with their speed, just constantly making things happen. Dougie Hamilton, who we all know is not the greatest defensive defenseman, was like a plus 22 that season. And that's an element, whatever Dougie brought that season, Quinn Hughes could bring that way more, because Quinn Hughes, even in his low points, is better than Dougie Hamilton ever was. And that's no shade towards Hamilton, who's a talented offensive defenseman, but Quinn Hughes is potentially a generational defenseman. I mean, he had 97 points last year, I think, something like that. Just pretty remarkable stuff from him. So, or maybe that was 2 seasons ago. But anyway, he's a point per game plus defenseman regularly, which Hamilton has really never been in his career. So the Canucks, every time Quinn Hughes is on the ice, they're in the offensive zone, and they're just such a mess regardless that, I mean, look, one player, even if Connor McDavid isn't going to turn the San Jose Sharks into a Stanley Cup contender. But with that being said, Quinn Hughes, if he's on the Devils, that completely does change the bottom six scoring because the Devils would have the puck constantly. Not going to say it instantly propels them into a cup contender, but it makes a huge difference. I'm trying to think of an example. It's slipping my mind, but it's just something that can really help out the team. I don't know how they're going to piece it with their defense, like if Simone Nemec has to go in the deal or Dougie Hamilton for salary purposes. Now you have a lot of guys on the left side and some holes on the right side. Obviously, the injuries play a factor in that as well, but I think it's something they might have to do just because, even just take the hockey part out of it, the fan morale. Like, if the Devils trade for Quinn Hughes, all the fans are going to forget about all the losing this season. I mean, it's going to be just the biggest storyline in the entire sport. And for Tom Fitzgerald, that'd be some huge redemption for him because, and not saying it's all entirely his fault again, because there's been injuries and stuff like that. But I mean, that's something that really just makes the fan base believe again. Quinn Hughes is that type of player. You could almost consider him like a second Jack on the ice. And we know how important one Jack is to the Devils. So to get another one, I mean, he literally plays like a forward. He's just on the back end. And that's what I was going to say before. the Canucks play him almost like a half hour a night. I almost feel bad for him. Like, the dude's got to be exhausted all the time. And he's someone who can handle those larger minutes, and maybe not a half hour. That's just like cruel. But if he could play 25 plus minutes regularly, that's 25 minutes where the Devils are likely controlling the pace of play, which is in a lot of cases already in Quinn Hughes' minutes alone better than most of the games that they've had recently. So look, it's not something that I'm going to say is going to turn them into an instant cup contender. I can't say that as a fact, but it's something that will help for sure and will certainly get the depth scoring going. And at the end of the day, they're still going to need bottom six upgrades, specifically the fourth line, because they're just getting nothing out of it from a lot of guys. There's not even one to single out, just from a lot of guys that have rotated in and out in those third and fourth lines. But Quinn Hughes is something that I think if the Devils really want success this season, he's the best avenue to go to, because then you could lock him up as well, and he is part of the team for a long time. So we'll see. There was a quote from...
So the quote was, Quinn responded to a reporter asking him about the rumors of the Devils and the Canucks possibly having a discussion about a possible trade. And he responded saying, "It wasn't like if there was a call, me, Jim, and Fitzy hopped on the call. I know I wasn't a part of that, but obviously I'm aware that things like that could happen." That's basically all he said. And then he was like, the reporter tried to ask a follow-up question, but he kind of made it about the Canucks winning the game yesterday, as he should, like a captain should, not make it all about all these trade rumors. He's the captain of the team. Make it about, like, at the end of the day, he's still worried about winning with the Canucks. He wants to win with the Canucks, and that's all he should care about in that moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do have to think at this point, because I mean, it's all I see. Like, that video alone has 140,000 views, and just anything Quinn Hughes related just completely blasts off, and understandably so. I mean, the Hughes family is a very, very powerful family in the National Hockey League world. I would have to think, if you're Quinn Hughes, you might just want to go to the Devils just to get the distraction over with. Like, if he goes to the Devils, he doesn't have to hear about all these trade rumors and everything anymore. It's just strictly going to be, come to the rink, play with my brothers, and try to win games and try to win a Stanley Cup. And right now, it's got to be distracting. There's no way. He's a human being. It certainly has an impact on him, and maybe even his play on the ice. So I do really, really feel for him. And it kind of seems like a best of everyone's world. If he goes, then the Canucks are probably going to get a haul back. They could start a little rebuild like they probably should. And for the Devils, it just simply makes them a better team.
I mean, yeah, Quinn Hughes would definitely make a big difference to a hockey team. He's one of the best defensemen in the whole entire world right now. One of the best hockey players in the world. You can't say otherwise. He is a difference maker. He can be amazing on the power play, can help elevate so many different guys. He brings so many different variables to a team. But I'm going to bring us to reality. It's not going to happen. I really don't think it's going to happen, at least this year. Dave Pagnotta reported saying it's very unlikely the Canucks move him this season. I don't want people to get their hopes up thinking it's going to happen. The Canucks are not going to move him just to move him. They're going to try to leverage as much as they can in this situation. And unless the Canucks are like bottom of the bottom in the standings and they're going to start selling everyone, which I don't think is likely at the moment, I don't see anything happening until at least the off season, and that sucks. Obviously, I would love to have Quinn Hughes on this hockey team, and just to have the three brothers together would be pretty sweet. But yeah, I don't see anything happening. I think a more reasonable, more realistic type of trade is to trade for one of those Nashville guys, and that's if it happens. Because like we heard all those rumors last trade deadline last year. Oh, the Devils are connected to this guy, this guy, this guy, and they ended up with freaking Daniel Sprong, of all freaking players. So like, I I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. As you were saying, a move has to be made. If a move isn't made, it feels like Fitzgerald is giving up, even though I know he's not. But like to a fan base, it feels like he's not caring at least, and I know that's not true at the same time. Um, Something has to change, and even if that's Steven Stamkos, who has had a brutal year, he hasn't been playing up to his standards. Same thing with Marchessault. You'll say the same about really anyone, but I feel like just those guys in general, even if they could come in as a rental player, I feel like they would be much better than what the team has right now. It can't be much worse than having Stefan Asen score 2 goals in 25 games or whatever it's been. Andre Palat 2 goals this whole season. Paul Cotter 2 goals this whole season. Like these guys will bring more to the table than what those guys can. So I would like to see them do something there. I don't know, like as we were saying, like I don't know how they do that considering their cap situation. Someone's gonna have to go back, and I feel like their biggest contracts right now are Hamilton and Palat, of like two guys that realistically could get traded, but I don't know what team in this world would want those guys at the point of where they are in their career, how they're both declining. Um, so I don't know how they make this work at all. They definitely have to trade a prospect like Seamus Casey. They have to trade someone. Something's gonna have to change with this team because right now I don't see them being able to have success without Jack Hughes. And even when Jack Hughes comes back, yes, it will make a big difference. The team will be playing much better. But it feels like now there's just more problems than just with being without Jack Hughes. It's becoming just a whole team problem, not being able to win, inconsistent goaltending. We've seen it. There's a lot of issues right now with this team, and it's just unfortunate. It feels like the 2023-24 season, but everything's just happening earlier on, if that makes any sense, where the team is like starting off so good. They're at near the top of the standings, and they just really crumble down and come down to earth. And obviously, we don't want that to happen. Um, and yeah, it's just crazy. Like, I mean, we were talking like late October how like, oh wow, this team is legit. They're playing good right now, and like hey, in 1 month, like things could change so fast. It's unbelievable. That's how the sport of hockey works. And yeah, it's crazy to think that we're like talking about like how the team desperately needs to make a move to be able to stay afloat in the playoff race. They're gonna have to figure something out. I don't know what it is right now, but back to my point, I don't think a Quinn Hughes trade this season is very likely. I give it a 5% chance max right now that he's even traded to any team at the moment. So we'll see. I mean, crazier things have happened, so who knows?
Yeah, I do think everything is magnified when a team is going through a stretch like this. I can say with confidence the Devils are not, even without Jack Hughes, are not nearly as bad of a team as they've been over the past weekish. But they're also not nearly as good of a team as they were with Jack Hughes winning 8 games in a row. So I understand why for fans it's hard to keep a level head when the team is just straight up just not scoring. I mean, 1 goal in the last 3 games, but I do know they should at least come back to earth a little bit. They're not going to be um this bad forever. I mean, it's almost statistically impossible. One thing they can fix in the very near future is their starts. When they score the first goal this season, they're 11-2-1. When they don't, they're 5-10-0. So we see that's been a pattern. I believe of these 5 games they've lost, 4 of the 5 they've given up the first goal, and that's something that can very easily be changed. Um, we know they're capable of doing it. Even when Jack first went out, they had a few games where they were still consistently scoring first. So that's something they definitely have the talent to do. But regardless, 1.69 goals per 60 minutes since Jack Hughes went down. That's 31st in the league. So even obviously with the finishing luck, if they were finishing at an average rate, it would be a little higher, but it's still not going to be towards the top of the league. So like you said, they just need to stay afloat. I believe they have the talent in the room to stay afloat until Jack gets back, but they don't have the roster to consistently churn out wins like the elite teams can. when Jack is out. But also, with that being said, I mean, everyone wants to talk about the Florida Panthers as this powerhouse, and their record's worse than the Devils right now. When you have that many injuries, it's tough. And obviously, the Panthers, I mean, with Barkov and Kachuk out, I would say that's worse than the Devils have been handed, but not that much worse because Brett Pesce is a very, very important part of the Devils team. So it's really like a glass half empty, half full kind of thing. And I understand why fans are frustrated, and they have every right to be when the team's won one playoff series in a very long time. But with that being said, the Devils aren't as bad as they've shown on the ice the past few games. And I think with just a few minor tweaks, getting everyone back healthy, and again, those tweaks are question marks because how can you upgrade the roster with the cap space this tight? That's something they're going to have to figure out. But I think they're closer than people think. But I don't know, something's got to give. It could very well end up in off-season discussion where we're saying, like, does something major have to change? But we're not at that point yet. Right now, the Devils just need to play better, period, because odds are, I mean, maybe, like you said, crazier things have happened, but odds are within the next few days, they're probably not making a trade, which I probably jinxed, and now we'll be getting on here tomorrow and talking about some blockbuster deal. But I don't know, just a lot of question marks. It's why you can't get too high when a team has winning streaks, and you can't get too low when they have losing streaks, because especially in this kind of league where everyone plays pretty close on every night. I mean, even these games, they're not really blowouts per se. Like, the Devils are in them. They're just not scoring goals. And then it kind of fades away towards the end. So I don't have the answer. I'm not the general manager, and I'm kind of grateful I'm not the general manager at this point. I feel for Tom Fitzgerald in that regard, but at the same time, I mean, this is the roster he built, and injuries or not, you got to figure it out, and it's just not happening right now.
Yeah, I gotta find a way to win. Got out some games here. As I said, 8 games before the Christmas break. Got to win at least 4 of those games. It feels like coming up, they got Ottawa on Tuesday. It's their first 2-day break in like 3 weeks. It feels like they played 11 games in 19 days, which is a lot to ask for a hockey team. That's definitely not easy by any means. So get some rest, come back stronger than ever against Ottawa. Then you have a mini homestand. You got Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is playing great hockey right now, or they lost 3 in a row, but before that they were playing really good, and I'm sure they'll get back to winning hockey like they always do. Anaheim, which is a very underrated team right now, they're playing some good hockey. And then Vancouver Sunday, kind of a Hughes Bowl, not the full Hughes Bowl. So maybe Jim Rutherford and Tom Fitzgerald have some discussions maybe that day. Who knows? I mean, imagine a trade gets dropped down right after the game or something like that. But that's very unrealistic. But all fantasy. But we'll see. Got to find a way though. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. And knowing Devils fans, it really wouldn't surprise me if when they play Vancouver, they're chanting for Quinn Hughes the whole night. I mean,
Hey,
it would not surprise me whatsoever, and that'd be quite the storyline. So we'll see. We appreciate you sticking with us for a little longer of an episode, but I think this one was warranted given the state of the team right now. And we're gonna keep churning out these episodes. We'll see if we have more of a positive episode to come next, or maybe still negativity. We shall see. But I do think it's important to keep a level head. And like I said, the Devils aren't as bad of a team, as nearly as bad of a team as they've shown lately, but also not as good as their 8-game winning streak was. So we'll see where that puts them in terms of the long haul. But we appreciate all your support. Let us know your thoughts and stuff like that. Really means a lot to us interacting with all of you. And we will catch you on the next episode. Peace out.